it's time to get in the locker and do battle.
Square one.
Back to where we started.
Michael?
Ah!
Michael, you need to relax.
I'm feeling discouraged.
These are the tales of Moab.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is. We have a very exciting episode this week. We're going to install our radial drive autopilot. And it's so nice to have an autopilot on a sailboat. But first, we've got to take care of old Dingus here. She's growing quite the beard. This is also a great opportunity for us to take Lola to the beach and let her run like crazy. There she is. There's old girl. Any of you ever get off to a really great start to the day? Everything is awesome, and then you're ready to get into it and do your work, and then everything just doesn't work out, and you go from feeling great to just terrible. Well, that's kind of what happened. The whole beach thing was a fiasco. It was really messy. It was no visibility. We just broke our only shower. It just exploded. We were trying to rinse off. We're gonna keep moving forward and begin installing our autopilot. And the part that we are going to be installing is the radial drive along with this crusty chain that Michael's trying to revive and these two cables here. The cockpit is a mess because that's what you gotta do when you wanna get in the locker. You have to just play Tetris with the boat. So there's our brain. It's a Raytheon. It's already connected and wired up. That goes to, here's the sensor arm that's not connected yet, and that would be the motor. So we're about to install the drum that goes below here. Wish us luck. We actually have never installed this. It came with the boat, and when we got it, it wasn't working, and all I had to do was get a new one of these, a new brain, and I hooked it up and everything worked. So hopefully this goes smooth, but it never does. But we're gonna have fun, and we're also gonna stress out. We're gonna do whatever we do here. We're gonna share it with you, and hopefully we all learn something today. Michael?
Hey.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you right now?
I'm probably like a 7 on the excited, a 9 on the kind of nervous. I just don't know how this is gonna go. I'm really nervous about our chain also, like how sticky it is. That doesn't seem good. So I'm trying to bring it back to life as much as I can. I just don't know.
So the type of autopilot we have is a Raytheon ST6000, and up until now we really didn't use it that much because we didn't have adequate battery power, and also we had other issues. I'm pretty sure our alternator never really worked, so it was nice during the day, but as soon as we'd have lack of sun or we'd be going through the night, no autopilot. But I think now that we have a much better battery bank, we just got a new alternator in, I think things are gonna be a lot better moving forward. How's she looking?
All right, guys, I think it's time to get in the locker and do battle. Let's go.
Cut. Should I cut? All right, we're going in. Wish us luck.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. I don't know where that came from.
So the first thing we're gonna do is wrap this chain around the motor and see how the, orient the cables, just kind of visualize how this is going down. So you can see if you were gonna install this from scratch, you'd have to have a nice solid mount here for your motor. And then you just basically find a place for your brain there, run the wires from your motor, your sensor arm, I don't know, obviously that's making this a lot easier that we don't have to mount all of that. So it's not like a complete install from scratch, but I think it's still gonna prove to be challenging. So I'm gonna jump in there and try to get this chain wrapped around the motor and run it through the pulleys. That's what the chain wraps around there, the motor, and it runs through the pulleys that are mounted back here. We've just kind of fed the cables through, put the chain on, but we're not really going to be able to go any further until we get the drum on. So next thing is going to be to install the drum just below. This would be our main steering drum here, and the Autopilot drum just barely fits right below it here. I don't know if Michael's going to want to do that. She's like the drum master. I'm not going to argue with her if she wants to. What do you think?
Drum master, ready to go. Can't actually get it on the rudder shaft yet. What I'm gonna try to do is set you guys up for a little time lapse so you can see what I'm doing down here.
Who is it, old girl? Who is it?
Okay, I'm back. The time lapse is gonna have to wait a couple minutes because we've got a snafu that we're gonna have to address first. Let me show you. So, okay. So, these clamps are actually in the way. There's not enough space right here for me to put on that lower drum, but we have some other kind of cable clamp thingies. There's a word for them. Help me with the word. What's the word? What do you call those things? So I'm gonna find those other clamps, and they're a lot smaller, and I think those will work better.
All right, GoPro coming at you.
All right, guys, I've got an update for you, and that update is that I made another dumb online purchase. So this thing is like way too teeny to work with our cables. I'll show you. Look, if I'm trying to put it on this cable right here. Okay, this is hard to do with one hand. Maybe I can hold. So, yeah. There's no way I could get the screw in there. That's just not gonna work at all. But what I was able to do was reposition the clamps up here. So this is at a totally different spot on the cable. And I think that was our issue. So they were too close to this, and now they're gonna be a lot further out. So I think there's gonna be room for a second drum now. Let's check it out.
I heard a little bit of excitement down here. What's going on?
We're back to square one.
Square one?
Back to where we started.
Woo!
Woo. We went to square -3 for a bit, but I got the top drum tensioned, and now I'm working on getting the second drum in there. It's just a little tight.
Ooh.
Not sure how I'm gonna do this with 2 hands or 1 hand. Would you guys give me a hand? That'd be really helpful.
Yeah, can you give her a hand? I'll give you a hand.
Give me a hand. Oh, my hand's falling off. I need a new hand.
Maybe you need a break.
Oh, no, I'm determined.
She's determined. I am so in love with this girl.
Oh,
She's amazing.
my gosh.
She has kept such a good attitude down there, and like she said, we're back to square one. So we went to put the drum on and had to take the other drum apart and all that. So didn't get her down, not at all.
Oh, I've retensioned the wires like 10 times already, so that was like easy peasy.
Well, I'm here for anything that Michael needs. At the moment, I'm going to try to give you guys an inside look at what's going on, an action shot, should we call it,
Action.
without getting in Michael's way here.
Oh my goodness.
What's going on down here? Okay. Oh, I see. .9/16 socket, longest
Thank you.
we got.
Beautiful. I'm gonna put some anti-seize on there because our drums are aluminum and these bolts are stainless, and when we were trying to take everything apart last time, it was brutal. Of course, we want this to stay together as well as possible, but I think this will be okay. Alright, I think I got one of them started. The rudder's turning on me.
You want me to lock it?
Maybe.
I should, don't you think?
Yeah.
Locking the rudder. Alright, you're locked and loaded.
Thank you.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were getting more and more excited the longer you're down in the locker.
It's working. It's working. Get my little hands in there. Oh. I'm stuck.
I'm just trying to show them what's going on down here.
This, I feel like this whole system could have, oh no. It could have been designed a lot better. There's like no room down here for radial steering.
All right, I'm going in. She's just tapped out.
Lunchtime.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right,
Oh.
All right, so the first thing I decided to do was to get this eye bolt connected to our first cable, and we remembered not to saddle the dead horse. Thanks to all of you. This would be the dead horse side. This would be the saddle right here. So we've saddled the live horse, and we're just gonna tighten this down, and then we'll go from there. Most likely we'll be taking these off multiple times and putting it back together. I don't know. It's trial by fire, baby.
I bet you guys are dying to know what's for lunch, so I'm gonna tell you. Leftover spaghetti with lentils, onions, garlic, tomatoes, and some cubed up mozzarella cheese. We don't like to dirty too many dishes, so I'm gonna eat it out of the Tupperware.
All right, I think this is gonna work. What we did, you can see we ran the first cable through the top pulley. So it starts here, it's hooked to this chain, it runs around the top pulley, comes around this side of the drum, feeds through here, and then down below here is where we've got it hooked up to the eye bolt with our saddle here. And we ran the eye bolt through this side of the drum. Now the next cable is going to be hooked to this bottom chain. It's going to run around the bottom pulley, and then it's going to come around this side of the drum here. It's going to feed through this, and then I'm going to hook up the eye bolt and run it through this side of the drum. So I think this looks kind of good, but remember, let's not get too excited. Let's try to keep our emotions in the middle.
Good.
In the middle.
Is it looking good?
Michael?
Ah!
Michael, you need to relax. We need to stay level. Middle ground. Find the middle ground. Most of you probably know how these work, but you know, before we took this apart, I really didn't know. So just imagine this is the cable, because it's gonna be hard to really show you. But I'm gonna stick this eye bolt, I'm gonna stick the cable through the eye bolt, and then I'm gonna bend it, and then you get this guy on here. So you're just gonna put it on like this, and I'm gonna screw it on tight, and that's how we connect our cable to our eye bolt.
I just got one question for you.
Okay, shoot.
What is that doing? That wire, what on earth is that doing in the locker?
Oh, this wire here?
Yeah,
It's not doing anything.
just hanging out.
It's just hanging out.
He tells me he's ready for an update, and then he says, oh no.
Oh, I'm ready, I'm ready. Look, bad news could be news. I don't have any bad news.
News more often than not is bad.
Good news is bad news. We all know that. Okay, so you can see I've got both cables fed through. So there's my eye bolt, and I've got it loosely secured over here. We did not put the set screws into this drum here, so it's not actually connected to the rudder. That way we could move it around. So that's gonna be the next step, is to secure it in the position that we want it to be in. We just want to get it to where the chain is equal distance on both sides. But you can see now when I spin this each direction, you see how the chain moves one way, moves the other way. You can see the pulleys back there in action. We're gonna tighten them up and it should spin a lot smoother. But so the motor of the Autopilot just basically spins this little piece here, which is connected to the chain. And what we want to do is we want to raise this up just a little bit so it's just off the stuffing box. We don't want it rubbing on the stuffing box. We have just enough room. You know, we're talking centimeters here. All right, I'm out. Woo. You're up. Confirmed. Okay, so Michael has a way of telling from down below whether the rudder is in neutral position. Just wanted to double check. So we're going to lock the wheel with the rudder in the middle, and then we're going to start our installation from there. That's going to make a big difference. That way the chain is going to be centered with the rudder in neutral position. Oh Lord. Michael, how you doing?
I'm feeling discouraged. One click each time with the socket.
Do you have any update or?
Brutal. I'm just tapping out. I need Joel to get in there and do some tightening.
Whew. Yeah, it's just the tight space is kind of what makes this challenging. Definitely. So these are really tight now. We had to use the extra long extender, and you can see you could just barely get a couple of clicks. The set screws are right here. Those are nice and tight. We've also got the eye bolts nice and tight, so you can see our chain is pretty taut. The cables, they say you want about a finger length. You don't want them super tight, so they do move a little. That might be a little too much. So you can see this is our steering cable. They are a little flexible, but
Finger length, but I think it's a finger width.
oh, a finger width, okay. But you can see now, we need to oil that chain, but the pulleys look good. See how they're feeding in and out. So the only thing is you know, we might have needed a new chain, but we soaked this in ACF 150, which fights corrosion, fights rust. We're gonna pour a bunch of motor oil on it now, and I think we're ready to move on to the next phase. All right, that should play. Whoa, super sore, that's intense. So we're gonna have to put the locker back together, and we're gonna come back at it tomorrow. What we have left is the sensor arm. We have to mount the sensor arm, and we're gonna do a little more research before we start drilling more holes. And we're just exhausted, our arms were sore, so plus it's really windy. You gotta pace yourself out here. Subscribe to see what happens next time on Bums on a Boat. These are the tales of Moab. Over here. Come on, Willie. Pay attention. Focus.
Moab! Lola dipped.
How come you're so quiet?